some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the walls. The chair is against the walls. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. Come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern, and we talk about guns or gun-related stuff for an hour. And thanks everybody for joining in. So don't like to do this show by myself, and we got some people joining us. P226 Nut out of Tulsa. Thanks for jumping in.
What's up? How are you guys?
Good. And then Tennessee Gun Guy. This is your first time jumping into our chat, but is this your first time jumping into any chat ever?
Yes, this is the first time I've jumped into any of the chats.
Right on. Thanks for jumping in. As you know, I do not like just sitting up here and chatting alone, so it's always nice to have people on this side of the mic. Looks like we've got a bunch of people out there joining us. And I would like to get this thing going on a more consistent basis, so I appreciate the people that show up and give us the thumbs and all that, interact with the platform. So, and being patient with the starts and stops of this show. So it's tonight, labeled the show, Do We Travel to the 2A Rally? So hopefully you guys can give me some insight. I've got links out there to other people. I guess they're not up or they're not interested in jumping in. But I'm trying to figure out if it's practical, if it's necessary, if it's useful to drive across the damn continent to be there for 4 hours from 1 a.m. from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. on November 2nd in Washington, D.C. There's going to be this 2A rally. And it's, I believe, unprecedented. There's nothing ever been attempted like this. It looks like it's going to be a great success. And something I've liked to do throughout my span of this stuff is to see stuff like that and be aware of it and absorb it into the greater. And, ideally be able to do something with that, share it with everyone. So, as much as I'd like to see it, I just don't know if it's practical. It's a heck of a lot of resource to get over there. It's going to wear out the truck. And it looks like, doing my math, 99 hours of driving in 23 days. So that gives me 2 days off in 23 days. And I'm pretty much driving something like 8 to 10 hours. And that means 23 days I'm not doing something here that makes money. I'm doing something the opposite. I'm doing something that costs sometimes hundreds of dollars a day in gas. And there's certainly things I'll be able to see and accomplish, I guess, on the trip. But anyway, so
Angelina keeps talking to me about taking this same trip. I'm like, I want to see her and I want her to go to a rally and whatever. So yeah, sure, do it. But like on the second part, it's like from the money standpoint, I'm like, why would you go? And you're in kind of the same spot because you're almost as far away.
Almost as far. Oh, from you, I'm close farther. But yeah, from Angelina,
I'm talking about from Angelina.
Yeah, she's almost another day. She's got a link. I guess she doesn't stay up this late anymore. But yeah, so this is a conversation. So I don't know. There are people listening. It says there's 15 people out there. Only 4 of them threw a thumb. So it's possible that some of them are just, observant. But if you're part of the conversation, throw some chatter out there.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times financially this time of year, a lot of people, it's difficult for them to be able to afford to be able to go out and spend the money to be able to pay for gas and food and lodging to be able to make it to Washington, D.C.
You're literally talking about thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing is, I would love to be able to go, but it's just financially, I could not swing it whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, I've done some things to attempt to raise some funds, but yeah, $1,600 in gas alone. The lodging, even in the van, cuts down on that. I do know people along the way I don't really need to stay anywhere, but definitely have people along the way. But
in case you need help or breakdown or whatever too.
Oh man, I don't want to think about that because this is, at this point, it's not a no-brainer or nothing. It's definitely going to be literally maxing out the credit cards. It's not like the first time I've ever maxed out all my credit cards before, but when they're maxed, when you have a problem along the way or an issue, where's that come from?
I'm just saying it's good to have friends along the way for that sort of shit. Like, if you need a place to
Long
be.
way is one thing, but the last time this thing had a problem, it was a $3,000 transmission. I'm literally put that on credit cards that I have not yet paid off. I'm paying a lot of money for that transmission that, I'm still paying off. Hopefully, again, you never know when those things are going to happen. Hopefully it won't, but
Yeah.
it's just, there is no wriggle room on this one. It's not like there's a credit card being maxed out. This is the last of several credit cards that would be maxed out just to cover the gas at this point.
I think it's just maybe a bad idea to go then. I hate to be the pessimist.
Yeah, I don't know if it's pessimism. I think it's practicalism or whatever, pragmatism.
Yeah, well, it's a whole bunch of money, and like things are tight for me. So, I don't know about you. It's easy to view things from that standpoint. Like, if gas alone is $1,600, then you have food and lodging and random expenditures that you should probably just double that. I would say.
No, nowhere near. No, not from at least past experience. It doesn't cost
Well, I
me.
guess you're in a van. You can stay in the van.
Yeah, and
I'm figuring in like hotel rooms and shit, and I'm going back to a fuck ton of money.
no, exactly. That's why some people rent a vehicle, and that's not that bad really, because the rentals are usually a couple $100 on the trip, and if you get better gas mileage, then the gas and rental together can be cheaper than just taking your own vehicle, less wear and tear. But
And if the transmission goes out in Albuquerque, then you have someone to call to get it replaced.
Oh yeah, and you're not even waiting. They just replace the vehicle and you're on your way.
Yep.
But you're typically not. I'm not sleeping in that vehicle. I guess I could technically, but you really can't rent cargo vans. You can only rent.
Well, you can rent U-Haul vans, I guess.
Yeah, sleeping in a U-Haul is technically a thing, but
I would not want to do that.
Yeah, that would be a little bit awkward in Washington D.C. rolling up in a U-Haul and sleeping in it.
U-Hauls that doesn't save any money on mine anyway. I mean, there's no way they.
No, it would get you like arrested as some sort of potential terrorist with the U-Haul van. Oh.
I think roll call when he says save and go to Tulsa, he's saying just go to Tulsa instead of going to D.C. also.
Yeah.
But I figure if I'm driving to Tulsa, that's
halfway.
Gas right there. And why not just leave a week early and hit DC, hit this thing that's, again, something that's never happened before and will never happen again. Where Tulsa happens, twice a year. But again, if I'm driving to DC and Tulsa's a week later, of course I'm going to fart around. So basically the trip right now would be go to DC for the rally and then go to Detroit and Chicago. Detroit is... basically drop off some stuff with Patriot, but then Chicago has a museum that I haven't gotten to yet, and then come down through Springfield and hit that other museum, and then you told me about a surplus store up there, and then that gets me to Tulsa right on time for that show.
And there's that Woolarock thing I tagged you in too.
Oh yeah, of course. That's one thing to Tulsa. Yeah, I don't have time to do anything on the way to DC just because it's a long haul.
Yeah.
I guess 6,700 miles. I've got it mapped out. So about 3,000 of that is probably just getting to DC. So there's no matter what, I don't have any time to fart around on the way there. But on the way back, there's certainly time to fart around.
Well, that killed the cat.
Yeah, pretty much the only traveling I'm gonna be able to do fiscally is pretty much seeing my brother out in Oklahoma, and then happen to go by Tulsa.
Where in Oklahoma?
He's at Tinker Air Force Base.
Okay, I'm in Tulsa.
Yeah, so I think it's only about 2 hours away or so from Tulsa.
Tinker's like an hour and a half from me.
Oh, okay.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, I gotta go out there and meet my new niece.
And then about the museum in Tulsa?
I'm not sure.
Claremore.
So there's old Route 66, right? Back in the day, people would travel on 66, and there'd be all kinds of things along the way to try to attract people to him, so that they'd stop there. And this guy had a hotel, and his thing to get people to travel there was his gun collection that he shared with everybody at the hotel. And it turned out, well, he ended up being, I guess, if not the largest, one of the largest private collections of guns. And
I would say he's probably the largest. I mean, outside
Yeah.
of maybe a factory.
yeah, so he's got a massive collection of guns. When he was getting close to getting old, he made an arrangement with the state of Oklahoma to give the state his collection, and they gave him a building, and he would give them the collection forever, as long, or at least for a long, long time, until or with the agreement that they would share his collection for free with anybody. So they built a building in this town, which is basically Tulsa, and put his collection up, and it's free. You just walk in and you experience the collection. Of course, anybody who's not a dick is going to leave a tip. There's like a tip jar, but it's a massive collection. Since he's passed in like the 70s or 60s, the police and other people have contributed to the collection, so it's gotten larger. And then every once in a while, because it's a museum, they'll feature, I guess what you call like a rotating exhibit. So it's been like Elvis stuff, it's been cowboy westerns, movie stuff, it's been World War I posters. Every time I go in there, pretty much it's a different thing up front.
World
But
War I thing was pretty cool.
it's a really cool museum. So if you're ever in Tulsa, leave yourself at least a couple hours. If you're a gun guy, an entire day. Even in an entire day, you won't see it all, but at least you'll get to understand how much of it's there. And yeah, it's certainly awesome.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Open every single day. I think Christmas and Thanksgiving, only 2 days it's not open. And it might even be open on those days. I don't remember.
I think it is like $10 to do it, if I remember right. It's not just a tip. It used to be a long time ago.
Oh, snap. I sent the email to everybody with just the YouTube video. I'm sorry. I guess maybe that's why nobody's joining in.
Yeah,
I'm trying to pull up my Instagram. I'll find a video of some of it. I walked through some of it and put it on Instagram.
I think I remember seeing a video that somebody posted where they did a walkthrough. Can't remember who it was, but it looked pretty interesting if it's the same one.
Instagram.
You know how have you noticed if you use Gmail and you go to, it'll have like a bunch of like pre-made answers for you? You ever seen that? It's like a new feature. Like as you're going to reply to someone on the email, it'll like prepare like these little.
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
Honda just sent me one. It goes, "You sent a YouTube link, not a StreamYard or Hangout or whatever." And its responses were like, "No, I didn't." I'm like, "Hey, thanks YouTube for assuming I'm a dick." Like all the answers were like super like angry. Like, "No, I already clicked out of it, so it won't show me now." But it was like, "No, I didn't." Like, you're the one who sent me the link. It was like these really angry answers. What the fuck?
You haven't find this damn video. It was a pretty cool walkthrough. It was the walkthrough of the machine gun section, so it's a lot of the stuff I'm into.
All right, so I guess I will resend the email to everybody with an actual link. Sorry about that. How do I do that? Just can I forward it to everybody on there? No.
Here it is. Okay. Let's screen share. Chrome tab. There we go.
What are you screen sharing?
Video from J.M. Davis.
Oh.
You want it? Is it sharing?
Yeah, you should be in full screen now.
This is kind of the World War II machine gun section. I think in this one or the next clip, I ran around and kind of showed some of the whole museum. $300,000 FG42. No big deal. The Ian McCollum section of the machine gun. Bunch of French stuff. Super cool Owen. And a couple of Frenchies. I think there's one more clip. No? Should be. Oh, I did the wrong thing. Okay. There's the tank out front. Here it is. This is the opposite wall. Brandon gun, MAC-10, Uzi, another Uzi. Really cool Air Force survival rifle, the M4. Street.
All right, now I sent out the links to everybody with the real link.
Swedish.
They don't really do that many modern things. His collection didn't really get into that. And then it seems like a lot of that stuff was like donated to.
Bunch of flare guns there. It's kind of cool.
Or because they tell us like,
right here. The museum is huge.
There's only like 2/3 of the stuff, so it's possible that they just didn't put out. You know, they've just decided what to put out.
That's just one aisle. This is the opposite wall. Okay, well that was the whole museum basically. 10. Like Uzi. Imagine like see how that's kind of like the like SMG, maybe World War II machine gun area. Imagine if every subset of guns was covered more thoroughly than what you see here. Swedish K. Stuff like that. Oh, and yeah. The tank out front is kind of cool too to take pictures with or whatever. I don't know if they have any more field artillery and tanks and shit than that though. Let's say the Lyle. Which one is it? It's an American tank. It's like it's Chaffee. That's what it is.
I think that's it looked kind of like a M46 Walker Bulldog, but I don't know. It's been a long time since I've really.
It's a Chaffee. It's one of those tanks before the Sherman really came out that we were using. Anyway, it's a World War II era tank. And the building is huge too. Like I don't know if that was in the video or not. You get the sense of it, but it's like I don't know, couple thousand square feet at least.
Not yeah, more. It looked pretty large. Yeah,
and I think buried in there too. I think there's like a room where he's in a tomb.
Yeah, one of only 2 people in Tennessee, I guess. Him and Will Rogers.
Will Rogers.
Who's the other guy from that?
Rogers is buried in Claremore, yeah.
Yeah, so them 2 are the only 2 people buried on a state monument, I guess.
I didn't know that. Pink.
There we got pink, and then we got a gun of the day over here that I think is now being shared.
Is that one of those little Colt Mustangs?
Yeah, plastic Mustang though. So what is it? Stupid 3? Oh, no, it's 380, and then it's +1, and it's a 1911. That's what I like about it. So minus the barrel bushing, you've got a 1911 there, so it comes apart in the same pieces and whatnot. Except of course the frame is polymer, and I think they're cool as hell. What does everybody else think?
I don't know why Colt didn't make a big boy version of that with a double stack mag as its new police gun or whatever.
Because they're not slaves to trends.
I think it would have been super popular. But.
Yeah, I grew up with the Mustangs, and there was a 380 Colt government model that my father had, and I grew up shooting that. I think that was the first handgun that I shot. But I really like Colt's little 380s like that. I wish that they had one that had a little bit longer grip with the Colt Government 380. It had, I think, a 8-shot single stack mag, but overall, those are really neat firearms. I've handled a few over the years, but I wouldn't mind getting my hands on one.
I love them. That's why I bought that Baby Rock in the 380.
Those
it-
baby rocks are cool.
Yeah.
Is it plastic?
No, it's all metal.
It's
I mean,
like a
real
1911 miniaturized.
The real Mustangs were metal, but were they aluminum?
I believe the baby rocks, if I'm correct, every part is like a 1911, just smaller. Like they
Yeah.
even have a bushing and they have a grip safety and shit.
Oh, really? See, that would be even neater. I don't think this thing is good for anything other than having a cool little gun. So I won't qualify
Yeah.
for that. So if it was even more like a 1911, I would like it even more. But I would also want to carry it even less if it had a grip safety.
I just think it's cool that it's exactly like a 1911, but
Yeah.
scaled down to 380. That makes it really cool.
Yeah.
Browning made that 380 that's more of a 1911 than this even, right?
Well, he made the Colt Pocket Hammerless 1908.
Oh, no. I mean, Browning, the company, recently made
Oh,
this.
yeah. I believe they did the same thing as Rock Island, actually. It's a little
Oh,
miniaturized.
okay. So that's what Rock Island is making. It's just a little Browning looking thing.
Well, it's a little like
Browning made it in full
it's
size,
a-
and Commander or something. So are they making it in two different sizes also?
I don't know, but the one Rock Island is making is a real 1911, like just scaled down for 380.
Yeah, no, that's what the Browning was basically.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if the Browning one had a bushing and the grip safety. It might not have, just like a little Mustang. So yeah, like I say, I don't like all that stuff. I wouldn't want any of it on a carry gun, but for a little tiny 1911, that would just be a cool gun to have.
If you just want a neat gun, like a miniaturized 1911 that shoots 380, which is Browning's other caliber he's known for, I think that's kind of neat.
But this one here, being the polymer and a little tiny accessory rail that's pointless because nothing would fit on it.
Yeah.
Getting it or not getting it? Tennessee.
For me, if I had the funds, I would get one, just because I've always been kind of a fan of the Mustangs, and I think it was the Colt Mark IV government model is the actual name of the one, but I like them.
Nut.
If someone offered me this gun, here's a free gun, I would take it. If someone offered me, here's $500, you can buy that gun or buy any other gun you want, I would buy something else. It's neat.
Okay.
It's not that neat.
And then pink.
Pink is not here.
Yeah.
He was a minute ago.
Pink. He's here. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Okay, now pink.
I'm definitely buying. Well, actually, I bought this, so
So
Yeah,
that's the one you guys are talking about, and that's made by Rock Island.
yeah.
Yeah, it's got has a grip safety and a bushing. It is like a little tiny 1911.
The grip
I want
looks
one of those.
fatter, no? Doesn't the grip look fatter, or is that just me? Is that just the angle? Or
I
something?
think they had to make some accommodation for it being 380 and being that small. Like, it's as close as you're going to get to a 1911 trunk in every way.
Yeah, I like it. So can you get grips on it, or is there
Yes,
options?
Yeah, you can.
You get different grips.
Yep.
Even if you couldn't get different grips, I know a guy who has a machine that can make grips.
I've got grips for it, but the rubberized grips that are on it are just so awesome. I mean,
And they look 1911-ish too, with the
Yeah.
double diamond.
Yep.
Good look. I would have to blacken out that little Rock Island logo though.
Yeah.
Is it tough to hold down the grip safety on a little tiny gun like that?
Nope. It's a blast to shoot. I took that out to Vegas
much was
last
that?
year, and Marco didn't want to shoot it, but yeah, I made a special trip out in the desert just to shoot that one.
Right on.
How much was it?
It was my guy. It was like under 400.
Wow.
So like 380 something maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's got a little bit, maybe a little bit longer barrel than the Mustang.
Oh, it is a little bit bigger than the Mustang for sure,
Yeah.
because it's like a scaled down government model. So
Yeah. Yeah, that would be more along the lines of what I'd want is that. Because, I mean, it's already a fairly small gun, so it'd be easily able to be carried and concealed. So.
yeah, I would look at it like a Colt 1908 or 1903 pocket hammerless. Like it's that size of gun. It's like a medium sized carry gun, like a big pocket gun.
I can't see it as a carry gun ever. It's got it's got that grip safety, which I can't deal with,
No.
and then it's so small with single action.
I
With
carry all stuff. So
single action with the safety on it in a pocket doesn't work for me. Like on a belt, okay, but in a pocket, no way.
I would agree. But
Yeah, that's the thing. Is I don't pocket carry, but I know plenty of people that do.
I pocket carry because they wear overalls, and the overalls kind of make it clear. That's how you carry, pretty much.
Pink, you pocket carry?
No. No, on the waist belt.
You pocket carry anything though?
About the only other thing is ankle carry.
Okay, that's interesting. So have you tried it?
I
And
like
you didn't like pocket carry, or you just never pocket carried?
I just never pocket carry. My pants don't have big enough pockets to put something like that in it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I think pocket carry is sort of like ankle carry, unless you've done it before. There's some people that just never done it. I never think about that.
I love pocket
I didn't
carry
like
and
pocket carrying either until I carried a revolver.
Right.
But once I carried a revolver, there's no way I'm going to carry a revolver on my waist. It's just dumb. It's too small. And I guess it took a little getting used to killing that pocket because I've been pocket carrying for so long now. I don't think about it, but I guess I used to use that pocket for other shit besides a gun. And once you got a gun in it, you're not using it for anything else.
Right.
I used to keep my phone in it.
I never did that. I can't remember now. I probably just kept my keys and my knife separate, and now all that shit's in the same pocket, which is kind of a pain in the butt because every time once in a while you pull out your keys, your knife goes with it, kind of shit.
See, I've got one pocket set up that my right pocket is just gun only. It's the only thing that's ever in there. Left pocket is my wallet, my Swiss Army knife, and a speed loader. And then I have my keys in my back pocket, and then my phone in the pocket of the bibs of the overalls. And then if I carry another knife, it usually goes in a tool pocket on the side of the overalls too. So it really opens up to a lot of possibilities when you can put the phone someplace else.
And YouTube censor is pretty crazy. It censored pants, I think, for writing shits, I guess. I thought it was shirts at first, but then it censored them for that, or put them on whatever.
Also pocket carrying is like the easiest way to carry too.
We had a movie for today, the Final Option. Anybody seen it?
Final option.
Anyone else?
There's no one seen it.
Shit, Pink laughed. It's like, fuck that movie.
Yeah, I really don't go to very many movies anymore.
Oh, this
Is that a recent movie?
is from 1980 something, so it's not new. Final Option was also called. What the hell was it also called? I was just playing this. It's one of the ones that I used for the intro to this show. Anyway, it was also called something else, and it's about. There's Pink. Pink, you seen Final Option? The movie?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can barely hear you. Oh, I heard him. He said, "Can you hear me?" But it was called The Final Option or Who Dares Wins. Anyway, it's about the SAS, and it was one of the first cool movies that came out.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
It's from 1983. You've seen it then?
Yeah, I know
haven't
by
seen
the Who Dares Wins.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's the movie for today. As soon as I seen that, and I guess I probably seen it in like 83 or 84 on cable. I don't remember how fast stuff turned around onto cable. I think it took like a good year back then. They didn't just immediately put it on cable. But this also came from Europe, so I have no idea when I seen it. But it was certainly like 84, 83. And
Does it have like a motorcycle?
Huh?
Does it have like a motorcycle and a guy on the cover? The final option.
Definitely not. The cover usually looks like a gas mask, and then two dudes like SAS looking 1980s SWAT guys. They're all black, swatted out.
The terrorists took over the American embassy in London.
Yeah, and it's usually them falling down on a rope, like rappelling down. There's not really a motorcycle scene in it, so I don't know if it would be a motorcycle in one. If there is a motorcycle scene, it's like just flip.
Is it Who Dares Wins, or is it He Who
Yeah,
Dares
that's what
Wins?
they called it in Europe. Over here, we called it Final Option. Anyhow, so it's basically the first cool movie that had SWAT type SAS dudes in it, and it's got a little bit of an interesting plot that I won't ruin for anybody. But it's more than just your typical movie. There's a little bit of a plot to it, or a little bit of a mystery to it, and it's some terrorists who are like, I don't even remember what it was, terrorists, whatever they called terrorists in the 80s, and they did something. They were gonna take over an embassy and force the government to launch a nuke at one of the bases or something in order to discuss the world and make us stop the Cold War, and the SAS and how they infiltrate and take over the hostage situation. Really cool movie though.
This movie's on iTunes for $14.99. It's probably on.
I think it's on YouTube. It might be on YouTube for free, so check it out. And if you haven't seen it, I think it's worth it. But those of you that have seen it, what do you think? Pink, you back?
I'm back, but I didn't hear what you're talking about.
The movie, The Final Option.
I'd have to look it up to see if I've seen it or not.
It's from 1983, and it was the movie about the SAS. Some terrorists take over an embassy, and the SAS takes care of them.
On iTunes, the cover does have a dude with a motorcycle, and it is the movie you're talking about. Like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, seriously, I don't even know if he drives a motorcycle in it. There might be a scene like, there's a little bit of stuff to
We
it.
thought a motorbike would help sell this movie on iTunes.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen this one.
Okay. Well, anybody else seen it? Wants to throw a review out there?
Oh, if I remember right, it's been a few years since I've seen it, but it was kind of like I don't know, kind of had a liking to the like Rainbow Six, like novel type of feel to it, if I remember right. The what?
Rainbow Six?
Yeah, the OG book.
Yeah. Well, Rainbow Six was kind of based on early SWAT, and early SWAT was all based on what the SAS were doing anti-terrorist wise. I mean, the whole MP5s and gas masks and all that shit, that's where they got that pretty much.
So this is 83. So this is kind of pre most of the stuff we're familiar with. So Uzis were the big thing. Macs were in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the iTunes cover. I mean, that's the dude from it. And, oh, you know what it is? There is a part. So I don't want to give too much of it away, but there's a part where the guy goes to visit somebody and he puts on one of them, like, motorcycle racing outfits that's like a giant one-piece, what do they call it? It's like the overalls, except it's got arms and everything. And
overalls?
Yeah, and he's got like this leather suit that he wears, like that people used to wear with motorcycles back in the day. And he puts on this helmet, and he looks like some kind of weird villain from like a weird movie or whatever. But yeah, he drives a motorcycle to visit this one person. So there is a scene where he drives a motorcycle, and that's the picture they took, I guess.
We thought that was the best picture to sell this movie.
There's really no way to put a picture on this movie though, because it's serious. I mean, I think
Well, I think
that most of the other ones,
like
the
the
SAS,
anti-terrorist thing with a gas mask, like a half a gas mask on it, like what you were talking about, would be cool.
and they got the guys repelling. That kind of gets the point across of the movie. That makes it seem, because there's a point of it that you could say it's like a rom-com or something, because there's a relationship. That's what that seems like that cover is trying to. Well, it's
Yeah.
iTunes. So military.
iTunes is trying to get your money. Like they picked the cover they thought would sell the best.
All right. Well, so then let's see if that was our movie. Do we have anything else on the thing for today? The range of the day or the gun shop is Clark County Shooting Facility. Has anybody been to there? Have you been up to that one yet? The Clark
one
County?
in Nevada, right? At Shot
Yeah,
Show.
this one's this is the one. The Clark County one is the one that's north of town. So the Vegas
think
is sort of
I've
in the
been there.
valley, and this is up in the foothills north of Vegas.
I think I've been there.
I don't want to give any spoilers in case anybody hasn't seen the movie yet. We were talking about the movie Final Option, or what the hell's the other name of it?
Who Dares Wins.
Who Dares Wins. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's on Netflix under Who Dares Wins. But
Have you ever seen any of the stuff talking to those old SAS guys from World War II? Like those are some
course.
badass dudes. What?
yeah,
What'd you say, G-Webs?
So of course.
Like I've seen a bunch of like British documentaries and stuff where they go around like interviewing them, and they're like, this is the knife I used to kill 500 Germans when we were invading Norway secretly, whenever or whatever. And they're talking about all this different stuff that was like black ops during World War II. It's pretty cool, at least I think.
An amazing amount of fucking hardcore shit happened in that one.
Yeah. Well, especially on the British side where they're raiding early on in the war, like they would just show up and take over some town in Norway and hold it for a day and then leave.
yeah, and send a telegram to the Fuhrer.
Yeah. I think all of that was supposed to be like, well, we don't know where the invasion is going to come because they keep invading all over the place for short periods. So whenever they did mount a real invasion, then they're like, oh, it's just another one of those things. They'll be gone today.
But there they were, still there.
Pink, are you back now?
Yeah, I'm back.
So are you working or are you on break or?
No, I'm night off.
Oh, right on. So thanks for jumping in. I don't know if you heard before, but I'm trying to sit over here debating. Did you say you are going to the rally then?
Yes.
And what's your, I guess you don't have to give us the details, but what's your take on if it's worth driving across the continent to see it?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm going. I finagled the schedule around to where I could get Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. So I'm going to drive up Friday, go to the rally Saturday, and then Marco's going to show me around Sunday.
And
See, I've
then
never-
you
See,
drive up to Pennsylvania, hang out with Midnight, and then go home?
I might drive through and order something off the menu, and then have him send it back. Say it's not cooked enough.
Mm-hmm. Get your money back?
Yep.
That's what I would do.
Meter in my soup.
I'll take my own flies in a plastic baggie. Say, hey, there's a fly in my soup.
Excuse me, there's a fingernail in my soup. Or worse yet, there's a finger in my soup.
I'll stop and get one of those little hands. I was like, there's a little hand in my soup. that, I mean, the closest I've been up by that area. Apparently, I mean, I didn't know it. Um, the town I went to get my bike is the town that Marco used to live in, and I never knew that until I looked at the title for the bike. So I drove by there back and forth 2 or 3 times in that day, getting stuff to load up the bike and bring it home. But that's the closest I've ever been to DC.
Right on.
Yeah, I spent, I think about 1.5 years in DC. It was rough.
I went there on a field trip in like 8th grade. It's a cool place. When you get to do
Yeah.
any of the shit I wanted to do.
Yeah, I didn't get to really do any sightseeing or anything. I was working up there at the Department of Defense at the time whenever I was in the Army, but it was not a fun assignment being there. It was a lot of political backstabbing.
You mean there's politics in Washington?
Oh,
Who
yeah.
knows?
Well, in any bureaucracy, there's going to be people that are there, to do the job. There's going to be people that are there to camp and they figure out where to hide in the bureaucracy, and then there's people there to exploit it and come out with better than they came in, and then probably some people in all the different extremes in the middle, right?
Yeah, that's the thing is there was what I would consider to be the true believers, the ones that actually believe in that they're trying to do some good, and then there's just the people that want to park it in a chair and basically steal oxygen from the rest of us.
No, anyway, so DC though is pretty cool. I can't even count. Been there quite a few times from when I was a little kid visiting. I don't think I ever went from school. Well, I think I had an opportunity at some point, but I had already been there and it was expensive or something, and I didn't go, or I was doing something else. I don't think I ever went with school. But
it was expensive when I went, but it was worth it.
What?
It was expensive when I went with the school trip thing. It was like a few $1,000s, I think, but it was worth it. And my whole fucking class went.
Yeah, I think it would totally be worth it. I've done some things with school travel and other things like scouts and stuff, traveling as a group like that. I think it's totally worth it for the kid, because not only do you see where you're going, but you get that experience of doing something. People that have never done anything like that, or they're just you don't get some of that experience or whatever.
They've
right?
never been further away from their house than about 20 miles.
And then there's just something about going with a group of people where you're just, there's less, you're just going there to experience it, and you get to experience the trip as much as where you're going, right? The destination. So anyway, what TC is, it's unique for sure, and it's going to be interesting. But
the only thing I'm going to hate is traveling with no guns. So
yeah, that's the other part, is it's not insignificant thinking about that part of it. Because that's, for me at least, if I'm looking at it, I'm looking at 23 days, because there's the rally is on the 2nd, so I could play a little bit with what day I leave, but I can't.
If you wanted to ditch a gun here with me, you'd be welcome to, but you'd only have it for half the trip then, though.
Yeah, and you're not an FFL, so I'm not going to commit a federal crime by leaving a gun with someone who can't legally accept it. So thanks.
Well, I know people with FFLs. I was figuring you'd use one of them.
So since I can't change the date of the rally, there's the 2nd. I got to be there for that. And then the 9th is the next weekend, basically, is the Big Gun Show in Tulsa. And it'd be silly to not attend something that's halfway back. So that would mean traveling for 23 days. And because, again, if I'm going to drive all that way, there's no point driving directly back from Tulsa either. I've got time on the end, so I could drive around, and that's going to eat some miles and some gas. But it's also taken days. So that's 23 days on the road. And, if I don't bring a gun for a couple of the destinations I go to, which prohibit them, then that's 23 days without having anything to protect yourself. So definitely a concern. Like you say, I could drop it somewhere, but since I'm not doing a back and forth, it would have to be somewhere where I'm going to visit twice, and that's pretty much Tulsa. So I would have to leave it in a place like that. Now, I can't give it to a person, but I could definitely leave it at a gun shop.
There's a gunsmith here, and you can put it on his books and then take it back off because it's going straight back to you.
Yeah, exactly. So, but then again, it's not optimal, but that's typically what I'd have to be looking at for travel.
But at least then you'd have a gun for half the trip. I mean, back east, you're just kind of fucked. I mean, at least going through Tulsa twice, you'd have that opportunity.
Yeah, have it for the half the trip where I don't need it, though.
Yeah, I know.
I'm never going to need it in Arizona. Like, probably never in New Mexico. Like, no, I'm never going to need it in New Mexico. Am I going to need it in Texas? No. Am I going to need it in Oklahoma? No. Like,
I wasn't going to mention that, but yeah, all the places I'd want it would be like Maryland, Virginia, DC.
So it certainly makes it more difficult. So you either become lawbreaker or disarmed, or
I think I would buy a safe lockbox sort of thing and stow it, in a locked container or whatever the whole time I was in there unloaded. And if they ask anything about it, be like, this is the only way I could figure to do it, and it's a 5-shot revolver or whatever anyway, probably, right?
in New Jersey or New York or wherever that was, it was a flintlock single shot unloaded percussion cap, maybe, or if it was a flintlock, and that got prosecuted with full extent to law. So there's no like, oh, this isn't a gun that's effective, or this isn't a gun that's dangerous, or this isn't a gun that's scary. They just
I was thinking like assault weapons wise, like you don't have to worry about that, right? Or like high cap mags.
I thought in New Jersey they would arrest you just for having ammo.
Yeah, I'm not going to New Jersey, but yeah, you're right. There's places that are crazy.
If you have multiple points in your gun in New Jersey, it's a felony.
DTP is saying, since when does letting a friend borrow a gun for a couple of weeks require an FFL? A handgun across state lines is the issue. So if I was bringing a shotgun, I could probably leave a shotgun with a nut, because that's not a big deal, because we live in states that allow handgun transfers. So it would be the equivalent of me selling it to him, except I didn't sell it to him. And then I could take it back from him, and it would be the equivalent of selling it to me. And there's no paperwork required there, and it's legal. But when we're talking a handgun, because the stupid qualification added by the 68 Gun Control Act, you can't transfer a handgun over state lines without an FFL being involved. I could ship it or something. Yeah, I could probably do something where, like, as soon as I get to DC, I put it in a package to myself, and then to somebody that I know, because you can ship it to an address and it's not theirs until they open the package. So I'm pretty sure that's the way it works. You can ship something to like a hotel and then arrive at the hotel, get your mail, and then boom, you got your gun back, because you can ship it to yourself. And the person that you ship it to is inconsequential, as far as I am aware, that it's, if you're the one that opened it.
You could go with rather be judged by 12 and then carried by 6 or whatever too, Like just
well, that's super easy to say, but I like my freedom and enjoying myself. And I'm not paranoid that I need a gun with me. I've been carrying a gun for a long time. I've needed it 0 times. And so I'm okay with whatever to comply with laws. I'm going to a rally to change those laws. So I hear what you're saying, but no, I'm not looking to challenge the laws, and I'm not looking to be the martyr, in jail and hoping that people, at this point, there's no way I'm doing that. If I maybe was completely funded and I knew that there was a big support thing behind me, but there's 17 people watching this and only 4 of them decided to thumb it up. That's not encouraging to go to jail and hope that those 17 people keep me in their thoughts.
I've got 16 thumbs.
And that's the thing, is a lot of these, a lot of the judges and stuff like that in some of these states. They would prefer to make an example out of somebody, even if they mean absolutely no harm whatsoever.
Now, what about pocket knives? I know if they've got a lot of these weird gun laws, what about, just having a pocket knife on you?
I don't know. Do you think that like just having a knife in your vehicle is enough to get in trouble in DC?
I don't know.
Probably not.
I don't
I mean,
know.
if it's not on you, if it's just like tucked away in a toolbox or something, I maybe need to refresh.
I don't think you're gonna have any worries over a knife.
I guess I haven't refreshed since the beginning, so I'll see if there's.
I know in most places you can get away with having a knife in your vehicle or in a bag or something as long as you don't have it on you. I know a lot of states, they also have like length restrictions, and if it's
Right.
fixed, it can't be over this length, or if it's folding, it can't be over that, or
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to have to research this weekend before I go up, because I'll at least, I at least want to have a pocket knife on me.
Yeah, there's not pretty much there's not any place that I go to where I wouldn't at least be able to have a pocket knife, except for maybe the county clerk's office once in a while, but that's pretty rare.
I went to a courthouse a bunch for a while because I was on a jury, and that was such a pain. I couldn't bring anything.
Yeah, and you're at the mercy of the security, whoever's in charge of that.
Well, that and their security was so kind of shitty too. It was like, oh well, I'm behaving myself and not carrying anything in here, but yet if I wore a hat, I could put a gun in the hat, and that would get more security probably.
Yeah, I always hated going to the courthouse because it was pretty much, I would say it was worse than going through a TSA checkpoint. Like, you were taking off shoes, belt, everything just to go through a metal detector, and it got to the point where it was ridiculous.
Yeah, my empty holster always set off the detector here.
Bet that gets some looks.
Well, I know quite a few of the sheriffs and police. They just kind of pass me through.
I wish we could just get back to the point as a nation where, like, seeing a gun on a hip wasn't like an unusual thing.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would be better.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, like, I see a lot of people around here carrying, and like, to most people because I'm right outside of the Nashville like metro area, and a lot of people carry, and then a lot of people don't even blink an eye. But then you've got all these people that have moved here from like Chicago and California, and they're just like, they get all squeamish every time that they see a gun, and it's getting worse here.
Well, hopefully part of that consequence of the rally will be that I don't know, somebody will look at it or cover it, and that'll get some people thinking. Depending on how it's covered, I guess that hey, maybe that's something to look into. Maybe we'll see more people. I don't know, caring about guns in different ways. Can't imagine there's not like a message to it. So, I mean, like the way that the media is going to interpret it is going to be very interesting, I think.
Let's see. In Washington, D.C., it is legal to own any kind of knife as long as it is not a switchblade. This includes belt knives, bowies, and any other knife you can think of. However, leave the knife at home and do not carry the knife if it does not have any utility purposes.
I'd
So-
carry a multi-tool and say, fuck it.
Yeah, I ain't too worried. My knife doesn't have a lock on it, and it's basically all serrated, so it's just a tool, I think. But yeah, you can't imagine they're going to go rummaging through vehicles looking for pocket knives. I mean, they'll rummage through vehicles looking for everything else, but I can't imagine they'll care about pocket knives if they find it.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Now,
is-
if they found your switchblade next to your book about how to stab cops, that might look bad.
Yeah, I got shook down once in DC, and they kind of freaked out about I had a knife on me, but I was in uniform, so it was kind of weird that they were shaking me down on that. But they kind of took it and then
What
stepped to the
kind of
side.
uniform? Like a Army uniform, Starfleet uniform? Like, I mean, this could explain things if it was a Starfleet uniform.
No, I was in Army service dress.
Okay. It's like, you're like, I don't know why they're searching me in uniform, but it's like you didn't say what uniform it was. So like my head's going like, like if it's the Ghostbusters outfit and you're walking down Fifth Avenue, maybe there's a reason.
Yeah.
Or if you got a Pink Panther furry costume on.
Yeah. We could get real loose on the definition of uniform.
Yeah, and the best part of it was the cop was trying to lecture me on how dangerous it is carrying a knife. I'm just like, yes, I know.
That's why I do it.
Be like, this is a baby knife. You should see my knives I got at home.
He was saying it was dangerous to carry a knife, like you might cut yourself, or like you're going to get arrested, or what?
Someone might take it from you and stab you. I think that's what it was saying.
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of an odd conversation, but that's the thing. Is like I don't dislike cops, but I think that a lot of cops are a little bit too misinformed about their views of people.
Well, we're right about the hour mark, and it's kind of quiet out there. I was mistaken. I didn't refresh before, so yeah, we got 24 thumbs. Appreciate that. Only 15 people watching, so that's actually a bunch of people have come by and thumbed and quit watching, I guess. But yeah, that's more thumb. That's a higher thumb ratio than 100%, so that's pretty cool. Refuse all search and seizures. Make them use a dog and videotape it. That horse is saying. So with that, I don't know. Does anyone else have any other topics tonight?
Really?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, well, so I'm eating, so I keep muting, but thanks for jumping in. And let's see. Every time somebody tells the government, yeah, search my vehicle, I have nothing to hide. George Washington rolls over in his grave. He makes a good point. And the more you make it difficult or costly, then the less often they're able to use it. And it's, you know, it's one of those things. I mean, I'm not anti-cop for any means, but there's, like we just said, any kind of bureaucracy, any kind of, what is that called? Yeah, bureaucracy, I guess. There's going to be all kinds of people in there. And people can be both, right? They don't have to just be one or the other. So it can be as much of a hindrance as it can be a help. But I understand what that horse is saying there, I think, by making it less it'd be easy for them to be abusive, then it's less likely that they'll be abusive all the time, I guess. putting words in his mouth, but that's what I guess he's saying. But cops go to be cops because they want to help out, I believe. There's got to be some of them who go in there with bad motives, but I think most people go in to be cops because they want to do something beneficial to society or whatever. And at least every cop I've ever dealt with, they don't get to deal with just the good stuff. They're not rescuing kittens out of trees every day. They are the opposite. They have to deal with just some of the worst stuff always. And that can erode different people different ways, and it can erode even the strongest in ways and make them different. So keep that in mind, and it doesn't hurt. Same way we want people to feel differently about guns, right? We could feel differently about cops. Cops are just part of our culture, our society. So they're human beings like the rest of us. So thank a cop once in a while. Think about it. You can be 100% thin blue line with searches without probable cause, or 100% unconstitutional. Yep, and I don't disagree. So again, you can, whatever. Everything is when you take it. I think we could have a whole discussion. Or probably should be whole discussions. But again, every cop is different. If you consider them all the same, then you're going to get.
I look at it kind of like I hate what they do, but I like the people who do the job. And sometimes they provide necessary services. Like, for every time that they fuck with an honest citizen or whatever, they're probably doing a lot more good than that doing other things. So.
Well, it depends. If you're talking about the individual, a bad cop is a bad cop. Cop
that's true.
Allows the bad cop to happen.
I'm talking about as a group, like.
Right, exactly. But then as a thing, like without cops, we'd have pretty much chaos, right? So we've got to have something, or at least it's probably better to have something. But yeah, and you just don't want to disregard the bad ones, because you need the good ones. But again, I think there could be a whole conversation on how to deal with them and from their point of view and stuff. It'd be a neat conversation, I guess. But
now they're having this thing where cops are accidentally shooting people or shooting people they shouldn't shoot. And I think that's kind of an outspring of this whole conversation, too, is that they feel unsafe out there and are trying to get home or whatever and aren't really doing the job of taking the risk. They're fucking, people. That's kind of attached onto that whole cop subject.
Well, when you say now, that's the bad part, because that kind of stuff has been going on forever. So it's not just a new thing. That's a phenomenon that the media has been focusing on recently. That's interesting, and I wonder why, right? What are they trying to distract from? Right. Or
part of it is we really do have a poorly trained police force.
Well, we have. What do you think? That at some point we didn't have Barney Rubbles? Or not Barney Rubbles, or that guy's name is on Barney Fifes? So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing new, and to suggest that anything is happening today that hasn't happened in the past is ridiculous. We just are, one, able to know about it more, and two, we still allow the few who disseminate information through the old channels to tell people what they're concerned about today. And there's about 1 billion things you could be concerned about. They're choosing to make that the thing to be concerned about, and that's where people should be skeptical. Just don't accept that today is a problem because so-and-so told you there's a problem today.
Agreed. But it's kind of like, it's a legitimate source of information still. I mean, you can't just totally ignore what they're saying.
No, but it's just saying, put it in perspective with the other stuff and how long it's been going on. So again, there's always been bad cops. In fact, I suspect there's probably been way more bad cops in the past when there was no.
Oh, yeah, like in the 70s, there were bad cops.
I'm talking like all the way up until the 70s, until there was like ways to actually complain about it and have
until internal affairs got to be a serious thing and not just Marty and some guy who investigated you if you did something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And we're not perfect, but anyway. So all I was going to say is whatever. I mean, cops, you could stick in their politicians, you could stick in their media, but I was just going to put in there that however we want to treat or talk to these people, we could also think of it as how we talk to the antis, because it's all the same thing. Talking to people that have different, whatever, ideological whatever than us, and anyway. So yeah, it could be a whole discussion, but we're already an hour into this one. I don't know if it's worth digging into it.
Yeah, probably not. It would come down to, yeah, we all kind of sort of agree.
Tell you one thing: when your state has constitutional carry, the police in that state sure treat you a lot better and with more respect than states that don't. Just my observation. That might be true. I don't know. Dead horse
Well,
is
we're
saying that.
getting it. I can't wait. We're
I
getting it
don't
in
know.
8 days.
You could say a lot of things.
Yeah,
It's
we're
it's different parts of the state too. I mean, my area of the state. I mean, the cops are great. I mean, I've never had a bad experience with any of them. I got pulled over for speeding last month. Let him know that I had guns in the car. He's like, oh, he just asked where it was at. I told him, there was one up here, there's one back there. He's like, okay, thanks for letting me know, and just went on, wrote me a ticket, and on my way I went. Yeah, no.
I've had every interaction from
Filing and
that.
stuff, and they're going to get fights from people who are like actively breaking laws and stuff, right? So they stop you, they're going to give you whatever ticket, you're going to accept the ticket, and they're going to be on their way. They're not apprehensive, and they're not going to, you know what I mean? Like they're profiling and all that stuff. If you were a different person getting pulled over in different circumstances, they're going to treat you differently.
Yeah.
Or if, like,
I'm the same way. Like every time I have an interaction with a cop, it's been like U-turns where I'm not supposed to do a U-turn, or I don't know. Like
or
sometimes
like when you
out
park
here,
your
they'll
van in the
pull you
wrong
over.
place.
What?
Like when you park your van in the wrong place at the sheriff's range.
Well, that was totally different. But just day-to-day kind of stuff out here, we'll get pulled over just if we're south of Tucson, because that'll just happen.
Yeah.
Because everybody will get pulled over just because they do random. I don't
Just
know.
on speculation.
Yeah, it's
You're
just
near the border.
worried about people transport stuff. Yeah, so that I kind of get used to, and it's super unconstitutional, pretty much. But anyway, when I get pulled over, it's for doing something, and it's typically traffic stuff. So that's different than, I don't know, if I was just out in the middle of the night getting hassled because it's the middle of the night. I'd have a different opinion, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm pulling a U-turn where I'm not supposed to pull a U-turn, and I get a ticket for it. What am I going to do? Be like, hey, you shouldn't catch me for doing something I'm not supposed to do. I'm not gonna, and it's pretty much in and out. It took like 5 minutes. And then out here, when you get something like that, you go to this class, and then it's not on your record or whatever. I guess that was a while ago, but you know what I mean? Like you can get a point or something, like how many points you get for that.
Yeah.
You can get these points taken off by going to a class.
Yep. You can do it here too.
Yeah, I've only gotten 2 tickets over my driving career, and both of them I fought and won. But
I've been pulled over for all sorts of things. I've only ever gotten 2 tickets, and they're both for having tags out of date.
that reminds me, I think my tags are about to be out.
My driver's license expires at the end of the month. I need to go do that still. I just don't want to. The DMV here.
I went to DMV. It was crazy. You just scan in and then sit there for like 3 minutes and then click, 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 and you're out. Like it's all automated, and you barely. I guess if you had like some really weird situation, it might take you a little while, but they had it all automated.
Now, do they send you your driver's license in the mail now?
No, they just hand it.
We ever had to get one driver's license out here because of Arizona's like 65-year driver's licenses or whatever they're called.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know they just
Yeah,
switched
this is
ours.
the first time I've ever had to renew mine, other than switching states.
Yeah, because I went in to get mine changed because the address on mine changed, and yeah, they can't even give me a driver's license there. They have to. It has to be shipped, through the mail or whatever.
Oh, okay. Like it's some procedure or something. It's part of their thing.
Yeah, they're switching over to do the new, some type of new style of driver's license to where you can go through
because it's the
federal or something.
bullshit.
Real ID thing.
So
You gotta have like a star or something on it saying, "Oh yeah, it's a official, federally recognized one."
Well, it means you don't need a passport
Right.
in Canada.
You need that for going into certain places now.
you're gonna need that for flying here pretty soon.
I heard it's a passport like thing too for Canada and Mexico. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but you don't need a passport if you have the new ID.
So Dead Horse is asking if me or anybody watched the new Joe Rogan with Edward Snowden. I did not, but we talked about it on Matt's show, and I was like, "Does anybody care about that?" And then Matt went into it for a while.
I watched it. I kind of fell asleep, but I went there. I need to watch it again. But it was interesting. You actually get to kind of meet him. A couple hours long. It's worth watching.
I don't know if I have an opinion on the guy. From what I understand, he's some kind of whistleblower guy that worked for the government and then leaked a bunch of stuff and booked it out of the country.
He basically put a bunch of NSA and CIA dirt on a flash drive that showed that they were spying on everybody and always had been, and then handed that over to a news reporter and then fled he was headed for Ecuador, someplace tropical, I think, but got stuck in Russia.
So I don't know if I have an opinion on the guy. I mean, I guess it's one of those things that we'd rather have than not have, but no one wants to see something have to be illegal. So, I mean, is that guy a martyr? Is that what they call it? I don't know.
I don't know. Like, if you listen to some of the Obama era people, he's the devil because he just showed that everything that they were doing was illegal. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, yeah, if what they were doing was illegal, then it should see the light of day. It doesn't matter if it's classified or not. So I like him for the most part, from what I've seen.
Anymore, if you've got a smartphone, they know exactly what you're doing anyway. So
Yeah.
See, that's the thing is it's like whenever you look at it from like, because like there's certain protections for whistleblowers, and like that was one of the things that we had to go over with.
He wasn't a whistleblower. The way he did what he did, he committed espionage, which is a whole different thing.
yeah,
That's the problem though, is he did it in a way that it was considered espionage, but the problem is if he would have taken it to, let's say, the Senate or House Intelligence Committees or whatever, and said, "Hey, look what they're doing," he probably would have gotten shut down like right then.
Well, he would have ran into one of the people that is in the pocket of whoever this is that controls these things, and then he would have been shut down.
Yeah, probably suicide by Hillary Clinton's gang.
That sort of shit. Yeah. He died of a heroin overdose.
Yeah.
He never did drugs. Shame.
So Dead Horse is saying that he's never seen Rogan say so little. So I'm guessing he said a lot, and I'm guessing if Dead Horse is saying it's worth listening to, has anybody else seen it then? Besides not?
No, I haven't seen it.
He did speak very little for him. Rogan usually talks a lot, and he was kind of just letting Snowden talk, which was good.
Yeah. So has he not done an interview thing before? I thought there's like movies about him and stuff. Is there something you're thinking about this one?
He does all sorts of interviews, but Joe Rogan is really good at interviewing. And he has
saying that. I mean, Joe Rogan has a popular podcast, but I don't think he's particularly good at interviewing at all. He just sits there and says, yeah.
Man, he gets people into these 3-hour conversations where you get to really see who someone is. That's
Well,
like with Dan Crenshaw. The thing that pissed me
he
off.
offers a good environment for an interview. Sure. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give you that. But
He just sits there and lets these people be themselves for 3 hours.
and it sounds like y'all are saying it's worth watching, listening to, or whatever.
Yeah.
Is there any need to watch it, or could you just listen to it?
You could just listen to it, but I usually just throw it on the iTunes thing and let it play. I just listen and don't watch it.
I mean, it's pretty much a podcast, just that it's on YouTube. So
Yeah, I usually watch them on YouTube, but I just don't ever look at the screen. That and he's actually taking some gun training now or something at Terran Tactical or something, which is interesting. Maybe that gets him more informed on guns so when he talks in the future. Because he already kind of liked guns and like he would talk to people who were anti-gun and just let them like steer the conversation. And that's horrible. Like they'll say something like assault magazine clip rifle or something, or just some string of words that doesn't make any sense at all, and he just lets them get away with it. This rifle weighs as much as 50 boxes.
So Dead Horse is saying that chat gave him a whole appreciation for Snowden. He was on the fence between traitor and patriot, but after the interview, he came away that he's a patriot.
I always got the Patriot vibe. So. That and Oliver Stone talked to him. Oliver Stone did that movie, and Oliver Stone, for better or worse, is a patriot, and he said he was a patriot. So take that for what you will.
So have we talked you into going yet, G?
Oh, it's not so much being talked in. I mean, I really, really want to go. I really
Have
think
you considered prostituting yourself along the way? Any
problem.
ladies of means that need some attention.
I don't need to be talked into going. I really want to go, and it's not that it's and that's the thing is that I'd have to basically book. I'd have to be moving the whole time, and if I had my way, I would rather mosey if I'm going to go across the country instead of just hauling ass across the country. So
hauling ass is fun.
What?
I said hauling ass is not fun. Moseying is fun.
Well, it's not fun, but it's also not productive. I'm really just trying. I end up just putting miles on the vehicle, and so anyway, so it's not an easy one. It's like I say, it's an effort for damn sure. But just practically, I've got some big bills coming. Those, even if I'm able to put those bills on credit cards, that would leave me even less money to put gas money on credit cards. I just don't know if it's even a physical, I don't even know if there is enough money to actually do it at this point. And if it is, it definitely bottoms me out. Like it maxes every credit card I've got and took me out of the game for 23 days. I don't make a lot of money, but it's like almost a month where I'm definitely not making money. I'm just spending money I don't have every single day. And, I'm not saying it's all about money, but I gotta pay the rent on the day after I get back kind of thing. I gotta be able to still do stuff. So I'm just not sure, man. It's like, definitely want to go. And I've offered to sell some things, like some stuff out of the collection. I went up to Vegas so that I could try to sell some stuff, but a lot of information, a lot of more awareness of what I've got and what it's worth, but no offer. I shouldn't say I've got a few offers, but no solid offers. So in other words, it's not like anything I've got that I can sell. I mean, I've got guns and stuff. All of my guns that I own now, except for one, are in the sub $200 range. It's not like I have to sell like a multiple amount of guns. I just don't own that much shit that's worth money. So it's not like I have the ability to sell a couple of things to fund it even. So it's just time wise, I'd have to be leaving in a few days. So I just don't know if I can. It's not like I can figure it out like on the 31st and say, oh, I got enough money now, let's go, because it's just not possible then.
Right.
And then I was kind of saying before that I would be maxing out credit cards just to cover the gas. And that means if something happened, like a issue or a problem, there's no credit cards. Like I don't have another credit card to put, an issue on, like a tire or a fuel pump or something like that. Like it's just down to the wire, which is frustrating. And if I fly, it's basically spending a shit ton of money to fly, and I'd be there for like, days and then be back here.
Right.
And then you're definitely not taking a gun.
I'm definitely not taking a gun. I got to put the dog up. I mean, it gets to be a good portion of what it's going to cost me to drive the whole trip to fly. So that's why I was like, well, there's no point flying. I can, for just, let's say at the time it was, let's see, $600 to fly. I mean, for double that, I was almost driving. So, and then I would get to Tulsa.
Well,
So
yeah.
that's the other thing. If I fly, then I'm not going to Tulsa either. So it's not an easy balance yet. So I'll continue the effort as the days dwindle here. But yeah,
And I think if you were just to drive to Tulsa, that's kind of a waste.
what's that?
If you just went to Tulsa and went back, that would be kind of a waste too. Like, you
Well,
might as well do the whole trip.
$600 in gas just to get to Tulsa and back, if I remember the math. So yeah, it's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
And the thing about Tulsa is I've been there so often that there's really nothing between here and Tulsa that is new or anything to check out. I can only drive so many ways. There's literally only so many roads through New Mexico because of the mountains and stuff. So there's only so many.
I-44 from Amarillo to Tulsa kind of sucks.
Well, there's just nowhere to stop. There's just nothing. So there is that museum in Tulsa that's worth going to, and then seeing all the people from gun channels, of course. But yeah, it's an expensive trip, and it doesn't look like the almanac's going to get printed. So, I don't know. It's just not looking perfect. Not looking positive.
What is the
Yeah, I
almanac?
was trying to do during this month. I've been doing a project on Indiegogo called the Shooter's Almanac. So it's
Okay.
an almanac, like farmer's almanac, except for shooting stuff.
Huh.
But that's only got 3 days left, and it's only 50% funded. So I don't think that's gonna. Well, that one's not gonna happen.
I thought about trying to write a book about guns once, and I just couldn't even decide what I want to cover. Like,
It's pretty
pretty
neat.
much have to go
Once you start
specific.
playing with the software, it's interesting putting together the book or whatever. I found it interesting.
I did like yearbook in high school one year, so I would imagine it's kind of like that, where you're doing layouts and shit, right?
Yeah, I imagine. Except whatever, even when you went to high school, it's probably way easier now than whatever the hell you were doing. You know what I mean? It just gets better and better all the time.
Like, yeah, that was 10 years ago. Or more. 12 years ago.
When I was in college, I took a class on how to do layout for printing and stuff, and that was like
I bet that's useless.
it was like with pieces of metal and like a drafting table, and you like drew the letters. You had to like draw letters. Like if you wanted to learn a different font, you learned how to like draw it differently.
It's like listening to like old guys talk about making guns. They basically drew for a living. Like most of the guys who like design guns, they have a draft table and they draw.
Yeah, pencil. Yeah.
Like what's his name? The guy that helped Stoner on the M16 and that did the Mini 14. He lives in Arizona still. But Jim Sullivan, what's his name? Jim Sullivan was showing like some of the drafting and stuff he did for the Mini 14. It's just crazy, like accurate line drawings and shit, and like it's amazing that computers have just completely made all of that obsolete. Like entire ways of how to do things.
Yeah, in more ways than one. Because at first it was just making it quicker, because you could come up with something. It was having an idea in your head is one thing, and then being able to draw it is another. You didn't have to be crippled by one or the other. You could just relay it to somebody else, and they could draw it good. Plus, you could draw over and over and get it perfect. I mean, when we were in
Yeah.
high school, we were learning that stuff, but there's still the like having to figure it out in the first place, right? And then like drawing it or whatever. But the computers made it to where, you know, oh, I want that radius to be a little bit different. You didn't have to draw the whole damn thing over again, or have like a shitty eraser mark and all that. Like you could have a
I'm
perfect.
still waiting for I'm still waiting for the Iron Man computer where it's all holographic and you can like go give me a circle. Okay, and I'll make it a sphere. Okay, and I'll make it a golf ball texture across the surface. Okay, not that fine, coarser. Like change everything just by talking. I think that would be fucking cool.
Well, that's probably
If
not
it got
that.
to that point, if it got to that point, there'd be a lot of people designing stuff.
All right. Well, with that, I think we're at 90 minutes mark ish. So we'll start wrapping it up. Does anybody want to plug anything? Chat about anything?
Not really. I'd like to plug Honda's Gay Frogs chat on Sundays. Can make
And
it there.
about Antarctica this week.
Yep.
Obviously, and Skynet is dumbing us down, making us weaker, so victory is ensured. I don't agree. You can focus on whatever you want, but there's plenty to be optimistic about, and there's definitely people that win by looking at the tragedies and the problems that are out there. But dig a little deeper. We have a different type of information system than we used to. If you can dig a little deeper, or if you choose to, you'll find all kinds of good news out there, interesting stuff, even on the big platforms like YouTube. And then once you start watching stuff that's interesting, guess what? The logarithms really don't care. The logarithms start to give you stuff you're interested in. So once you start looking at stuff that's optimistic and interesting and new and growing and vibrant, they'll start recommending stuff like that, and then your worldview changes. So yeah, the logarithms can be frustrating if you're working against them, but make them work for you. And if nothing else, just go play with them, screw with them, go look at stuff you wouldn't normally look at, keep them guessing. But don't let the systems that are out there that are designed to just make it easier, quote unquote, bug you and get you down, because that's not all that's out there. There's lots and lots of good stuff out there.
Do you think that we're already kind of living in a post-Skynet world and the Skynet is actually Google? And that, as it turns out, instead of wanting to enslave mankind, they just want to sell us Chinese stuff on Amazon?
No, we'll find out when we have real influence by some kind of AI. It'll be different. Now, this is just better version of, telemarketing is just a better version of the late night infomercials.
Okay.
I don't think we're looking at a new paradigm right now. We're just looking at an evolution of stuff that we and our parents were still familiar with. I think
I just think that inevitably when they develop some sort of AI, they're going to develop it to sell us things, right? Like, I think in reality, we have more to fear from the future robot salesman than we do the Terminator or whatever.
Yeah, because that implies that sales are going to be the way that things work. I don't think we're doomed to that. As production, the creation of stuff changes, and resources and things like that are different. People's demands and interests are different, and plus, so anyway, all those things will change. And I don't think that a product will happen that needs to be advertised. Instead, people will think of something they want, and it'll happen. So you'll want XYZ, and you'll be able to create an XYZ. And it'll be a competition.
We have that Star Trek replicator stuff, like where you can just go, man, I want a Colt revolver, and one like appears at the teleporter thing.
I don't know about that, but you could certainly be able to go to some store who can make that happen, right? So as we change towards people don't have to be sold, here's why you need the yellow shoe. Instead, they can go buy the green shoe that they want. Then we don't have a world where sales have influence or there's effort. So we've had effort because of the way that things are moved around and the way that things are moved, created and all that. So I think we've got a potential to change there, but we've got all kinds of other ways we can change in the meantime too. And I don't know. I think we're far from where AI is influencing us, though.
Well, that's good.
Oh, I want to throw in on that.
Only a matter of time until it happens. It's just who's going to develop it completely first.
I hope whatever AI we do create has a sense of irony and creates its assassin robots to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Honestly, if that's the only thing that survives the human race, is the little ironic joke about how the robots that destroyed us look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm okay with that.
I was going to say, Google does have a quantum computer now.
That's what I'm saying. That's Skynet. It's coming.
All right. Well, with that, we've solved everything for everybody. I think we will end it. Thanks for showing up. For everybody that showed up tonight in the panel, and then everybody showed up out there with the thumbs and the views. Appreciate it, and be a part of the conversation. That's even better. So try to be back tomorrow, and then depending on if we're on the road or not, later on in the week and into the next week.